so favourite. Most of them got white, green, the ball looks really good. Keep it up in the keeper and design. Spot on. Jim, get the opportunities, make the most of it, and so is had a game today. Gee, low. He struck it. He missed it.
30 Garrett Adams and Auckland, and then the reserves are 40 Craig Thompson, West Coast, 50 Ray Lewis, Glasgow, Canterbury, 60 Woody Tyler out, 70 Steve Canterbury. We do give a very welcome indeed to the Queensland players here, plus their officials and supporters, and a special welcome also to Mr. Keane Sterling, the New Zealand Council, and also convener of New Zealand selectors.
Queensland cane cutters have been underway for about 2 minutes now, and from the kick-off, Queensland knocked the ball forward, a scrum was set down and Kiwis in possession, and big number Sid Eru from Wellington with the ball at about the 22 metre mark. Paulson, a long ball out to Shane Endicott from Canterbury. And an early attempted field goal. Goes slightly astray, it bounces off the post and it's picked up by the Queensland loose forward Danny Moore. Queensland in possession, 10 metre mark, inside their own territory. And what does referee Blacklist say? It looks like there's an infringement in there. The touch judge is on. A little bit of a consultation. My old mate Colin McKenzie is here from Wellington. Follows the junior Kiwis round everywhere. Certainly a very strong league follower. And welcome to Canterbury, Colin. It looks like the first penalty of the day goes to the Queensland side. And from the signal of referee Blackler, the junior Kiwis going into the tackle with a swinging arm, and that's clearly indicated. And William Morganson, the inside centre for Queensland, clears the ball. Play to restart, 10 metres in on the Queensland 22. It looks like the standoff Scott Brown to bring play up to the 30 metre mark. Queensland in possession. Taken in the tackle there of Shane Endicott and Dale Paulson. Queensland front rower Shane Pearce. Jason Ereber. And Solomon Curry, the Auckland inside centre, wrapping up the Queensland ball carrier there. But Blackler very quickly going up, rolling. The Kiwis are coming in over the top with their tackles and also inside the 5, and that's the second penalty to Queensland in the space of about 3 minutes. It's William Morganson, the Queensland centre three-quarter, to clear the ball. In fact, that wasn't Morganson, it looks like Scott Blackler, the fullback. And now Queensland in a good attacking position. They take the ball deep inside the Kiwis 22, now inside the 10 metre mark. Out to Victor Timms, the front rower, but they lose the ball and the junior Kiwis come up with it. And the touch judge is on again. Referee Blackler calling up Victor Timms and Trevor Scodel, two Queenslanders. Not to worry about it, says, not to worry about it. Trevor Scodel tells Timms that the penalty goes the Kiwis' way, and this is a bit of relief for them. As Alan O'Neill for the Waikato clears, and up at the 22 line now, the Kiwis on the attack, and a good pass out to Tom Mulu. Mulu gets the ball away to Dale Paulson. But the ball goes astray. Queensland in possession. Danny Moore, the ball player. Out to Stu Richless. The attack carried on by Victor Timms. Queensland inside the Kiwi 22. An in pass to Stu Richless. Scodel. And William Morganson, the Queensland inside centre, putting the first points on the board. And that's a good Queensland try, and they'll be pleased with those early points on the board. Well, a little bit of the cover defence of the Kiwis not quite closing the gap. Then that long ball from Trevor Scodel out to Scott Brown. Scott Brown missing out Danny Smith. Willie Morganson bursting onto the ball and Queensland scored about 10 yards in from the left-hand touch. The junior Kiwis will no doubt see that early try by Queensland on replay. They'll have to mark their counterparts more closely. Queensland kicker taking his time with this ball, about 5 metres in from the left-hand touch. He comes in, and although the ball's got the distance, it didn't have the accuracy, but that's not a bad effort by Danny Smith, the Queensland inside centre. So the scoreline reads, after about 7 minutes of play, Queensland 4, the junior Kiwis 0. O'Neill to restart play from the halfway. A long kick right into the Queensland goal. It's picked up there by Scott Blackler, the Queensland fullback. He takes play up to the 22-metre line. He's taken hard in the tackle there of the Kiwi second row, Stephen Kearney and Marcus Lange. Lange, a big second rower from the province of Auckland. But they lose the ball in that tackle. A little bit of differential play there. Referee Blackler rules the ball has been passed forward. He orders a scrum, and from set play it's the Kiwi halfback Dale Paulson to feed the scrum. Paulson, Endicott, out to O'Neill. O'Neill taken in the tackle there of Willie Morganson. Into the back line comes Albert Atkinson. Bursting onto the ball now, Gareth Adams. The Kiwis hot on attack here. Inside the Queensland half. The long ball out to Kearney. Oh, and the ball goes behind Tom Malu. But it's regathered by the Kiwi inside centre, Solomon Curry. And he's bailed into touch about 3 metres from the try line. And that's a good backline movement from the Kiwis. They're going to have to move the ball quicker out wide and watch the passing. Mistakes like this can cost them vital points. Queensland half, Trevor Scrodel feeds the scrum and comes away with the ball. He's taken in a tackle there by Gareth Williams. Gareth Adams, the Kiwi loose forward. Queensland on attack. Shane Pearce taken in the tackle of Marcus Lange. Queensland in possession, and the long kick from Blackler deep down into the Kiwi half, and the ball picked up there by Jason Edwards, the right Kiwi winger for today. Atkinson takes the ball from the dummy half position, offloads to Chanel Laliza. Back the ball comes to Paulson, to Bourneville, and in the tackle goes Marcus Lange. In possession, Kearney. Kearney looking for some support. It's not there. He's out along the line to Malu. And Malu offloads the ball to, it looks like, Shane Endicott. Endicott can't hold the ball on that occasion. And the referee will order the set scrum for the knock-on. It looks like, in fact, Eugene Bourneville from Auckland that couldn't hold that pass. Some of the players a little bit hard to pick up from the announcer's position where I'm standing. But nevertheless, a very good start to the test. Queensland getting those early points on the board. A try by their inside centre, Willie Morganson. And on that occasion, slipping the Kiwi cover defence, the conversion was unsuccessful. So after about 4 minutes of play, it was Queensland 4 and the Kiwis 0. The Kiwis in turn have been on attack deep into the Queensland 22. On that occasion, Solomon Curry was put into touch just short of the try line, but now at the halfway line, it's the Queensland halfback Trevor Scodel to feed the scrum. But a tight head, in fact, goes to the Kiwi junior hooker Sid Iru, and Dale Fulson comes away with the ball. From that quick play the ball, the Kiwis are still on attack. Endicott plays the ball out to Kearney. Kearney plays the ball. Tom Mulu in possession. And out to the speedy winger Solomon Curry. Curry still going. Infield to the Kiwi loose forward Gareth Adams. And Adams has put points on the board for the Kiwis, and that's a good lead-up try. After 11 minutes of play, the junior Kiwis have scored in the left-hand corner, running right down the main grandstand side here. And Gareth Adams, the Kiwi loose forward, to touchdown for the Kiwis. The crowd, of course, rise in response to that try. And that may well be the answer the Kiwis have in their game plan, is to win the ball up front, then to spin it wide. The junior quarter line in the form of Edwards, Lalisa, O'Neill and Solomon Curry have got the speed, I'm sure, to match their Queensland counterparts. So that's a good try for the Kiwis. And it's Alan O'Neill, the Kiwi inside centre, who comes from the province of Waikato, to attempt the conversion. A long kick by O'Neill, but it crosses, in fact, the goal post, the goal mouth. It hasn't got the height or the accuracy. So after 12 minutes of play here at the Addington Showgrounds in Christchurch, in this junior international between the Kiwis and the Queensland Cane Cutters, it's the Kiwis 4 and the visitors 4. And deep into New Zealand territory from the kick-off, and the New Zealand loose forward Gareth Adams really muffing that kick-off, and the ball goes dead over the in-goal area, and the Kiwis are now right behind their own in-goal. It'll be a goal line dropout, and it's Alan O'Neill to restart play from underneath the New Zealand goalpost. A long kick by O'Neill, taken cleanly by the Queenslander hooker Jason Yubo. Morganson to Scodel. Scodel to fullback Blackler. Blackler to Renee Orchard, the son of the former Kiwi Philip Orchard, now playing in the Queensland Juniors. But a wild pass from Danny Smith, the Queensland inside centre, allows the Kiwis to regain possession, and from the dummy half position, the Kiwi hooker Sid Iru comes away with the ball. Paulson. Paulson again, Paulson to Eugene Bornable. Uru to Endicott. Endicott, a long ball to Alan O'Neill, who bursts through the Queensland defence. O'Neill still going up to the Queensland 22, and he's taken in a high tackle there by the Queensland cover defence. A quick play the ball out to Endicott, and out again finally to that left winger Solomon Curry, and Curry's bundled out in that left hand corner about 3 yards from the Queensland line, and the Kiwis hot on attack now. And from set play, the Queensland halfback Trevor Scodel will field the scrum. That's good play by the Kiwis, those long backline movements, gaining possession up front and flinging the ball wide. But it's Queensland in possession. A little bit of a lull there in the play. Referee Blackler ruling the scrum was not set correctly. He sets it now. Scodel feeds the scrum for Queensland and comes away with the ball. He's taken there by the Kiwi standoff Shane Endicott. Queensland in possession on their own 22. A long pass by the Queensland loose forward Danny Moore. And for more to Renee Orchard, but referee Blackler ruling the pass went forward to the Queensland centre line and sets a scrum with the Kiwi halfback Dale Paulson to feed. Paulson comes away with the ball. Out to Chanel Lalisa. Lalisa out to O'Neill. O'Neill loses the ball and it's picked up by Queensland Renee's Orchard. Up to the 30-metre mark, Queensland in possession. A long pass from Eber. Out to Greg Christensen. Christensen caught on the halfway line. In goes the Kiwi cover defence in the form of Uru and Bourneville. Queensland in possession. And a high kick from Queensland, and it's caught by junior Kiwi Solomon Curry. He's taken on the Kiwi 22 line, and away comes Albertson Atkinson with it, the Kiwi fullback. And from that play the ball, Tom Malu from Wellington run to the grand side touch. He looked for the speedy winger Curry. Curry was in support, but the pass went wild, went over the touch line. Play restarts with a scrum. Skodal, the Queensland halfback, to feed. He comes away with it. Out to Brown. Brown out to Smith. Smith out to Blackler, who joined the line. And Renee Orchard nearly goes over for try number 2, but is taken there by the Kiwi cover defence. Queensland still on the attack, and bursting through onto that ball was the second rower Greg Christensen, and he scores just to the left hand side of the uprights. So that's try number 2 for Queensland after about 19 minutes of play. Queensland 8 and the Kiwis 4. And that try by Queensland resulting in an error made by the junior Kiwis when they were in possession about 30 metres in their own half. That long ball from Malu from Wellington out to the Kiwi left wing Curry went astray, and from the resulting scrum, which Queensland won, they moved the ball wide to the left wing. Then they turned it infield when Renee Orchard was taken only 3 metres from the Kiwi line, and bursting onto the ball was Greg Christensen, the Queensland second rower, and he scored just to the left of the uprights. And it's the Queensland kicker Danny Smith, the inside centre, to convert the Christensen try. So a fine sunny day here at the showgrounds in Christchurch, and after about 18 minutes of play, it's the Queensland Junior Cane Cutters 10 and the Kiwis 4. And back to the halfway to restart play is the Kiwi inside centre Alan O'Neill. He kicks down towards the Queensland 22. Queensland in possession, 10 metres inside their own half. The ball comes out to Skodal. Skodal to Brown. Brown to Smith. But up there to smother him is the Kiwi cover defence in the form of Louisa and O'Neill. And this time Endicott goes in and makes the tackle with Malu. Queensland in possession, a long ball. They moving the ball out wide very fast here today. And on the Kiwi 22 metre line, Queensland still in possession. A quick play the ball. Shodell. Oh, an intercept. An intercept by Malu from Wellington. And the Queensland defence is chasing him, but Malu can't get away from them. He's taking there in the tackle of Queensland halfback Trevor Skodal. And on the Queensland 22, Kiwis still in possession. Uru to Paulson, and Paulson out to Stephen Kearney, and Kearney, the lanky Kiwi second rower, waltzes through the Queensland defence and scores just to the left-hand side of the uprights, and that's got to be a good Kiwi try. And this game has certainly come alive after about 20 minutes of play. It's Queensland 10, Kiwis 8. Enterprising play by the Kiwis after the Queenslanders nearly scored when Renee Orchard was brought down once again, only 3 or 4 metres short of the Kiwi line. Then that long ball from Danny Smith along to Brown, then out to Trevor Skodal, but the Kiwi cover defence held, and from the resultant play they edged their way into Queensland territory, and then up to the 22 metre line for Queensland. It was the big rangy Kiwi second rower Steve Kearney. He cut through the Queensland cover defence, and it was left to Alan O'Neill from Waikato to convert the Kearney try. He has not done so. So after 20 minutes of play here at the showgrounds in Christchurch, it's the Queensland Junior Cane Cutters 10 and the Kiwis 8. At the halfway mark now, Queensland to restart play. It's the Queensland kicker Danny Smith. To restart play in this Junior International. Oh, a long kick by Smith right down into the Kiwi in goal. It's taken there by the Kiwi loose forward Gareth Adams, and Adams is taken very heavily in the tackle there by Victor Timms. Lange in possession for the junior Kiwis. At the dummy half is Uru. Uru out to Malu. Underhand pass to Paulson. And Paulson out to Alan O'Neill. O'Neill flings the ball behind him, a wild pass, but it's picked up by Kiwi winger Jason Edwards. Lolisa comes away from the play the ball. Paulson to Endicott, but Tom Marlowe from Wellington is smothered by the Queensland defence from the play the ball. Paulson, a little chip over the Queensland defence, and a good one by Paulson. The ball is out inside the Queensland territory, about 10 metres from the Queensland 22 towards the halfway mark. A set play to be ruled, a scrum with Skodal, the Queensland halfback, to feed. He does so. The Kiwis will the scrum. A little bit untidy, but Queensland halfback Skodal comes away with the ball and passes out to Danny Smith, who's taken in the tackle by the Kiwi cover defence. Bursting onto the ball now is Victor Timms, the Queenslander front row, and he's smothered there very, very quickly by Marcus Lange and Gareth Adams for the Kiwis. And Victor Timms again in possession, out to a second rower, still Reachless. Reachless, a quick play the ball to Eber. Eber moves the ball wide to standoff Scott Brown, and the high kick, and up in the air for it goes the Kiwi fullback Elvin Atkinson, and he earns the plaudits from the crowd, and Atkinson still in possession up to the halfway mark, and Uru working the ball to the blind to Bourneville. Bourneville infield to Paulson, and Paulson smothered by the Queensland cover defence there, but knees in the tackle, says referee Ken Blackler, so the Kiwis will come up with that penalty. Very little penalties in the game to date. That's 2 to the Kiwis and 2 to Queensland, and the scrums are 4 apiece. And that it looks like the Kiwis had a wall there, but it didn't quite work out as Tom Marlowe was taken by the Queensland cover defence there. And now Steve Kearney. Up to the Queensland 22 line go the Kiwis. Then a long ball to Paulson. And Paulson out to Solomon Curry, and Curry can't handle the ball. And from a loose play, the Queensland loose forward, Danny Moore, comes away with it. They lose possession. The Kiwis regain. And to set play up is the Kiwi standoff, Shane Endicott, just inside the Queensland half. He plays the ball out to Curry. Curry going that main touch sideline again, having a good game here today, Curry. Endicott from the dummy half to Paulson. Paulson to Eugene Bourneville. And back to Endicott and out to Curry again. And Curry loses the ball in the tackle, but it goes back, says referee Blackler, and there to pick it up is the Kiwi fullback, Albert Atkinson. Endicott into dummy half to Paulson. Paulson to O'Neill. O'Neill a long ball to second rower Kearney. And another penalty to the Kiwis for the Queensland cover defence. Up inside the 5. And it's Alan O'Neill to kick for touch. And that's a good clearing penalty kick by Kiwi centre Alan O'Neill. And they'll come 10 metres in from the touch to restart with the tap kick. They do so. A couple of passes, finds Bourneville from Auckland working the right hand touch. Edwards. Oh, lost ball by the Kiwis. Just as Paulson was about to set the back line alight again, a loose ball. Referee Blackler rules a scrum with Queensland to feed. And that's a tight head to the Kiwis. Loose forward Gareth Adams comes away with the ball. 3 metres now from the Queensland line. Endicott to Paulson. Paulson to Kearney. Kearney out to Atkinson. Atkinson to Lalisa. And a Lalisa, a long ball to Curry. And what's happening here? Referee Blackler has ruled the ball was not grounded, so it's back to the 22 metre line to restart. Queensland to restart play on their own 22. A good sweeping back line movement by the junior Kiwis, but Queensland restart play now, and the Kiwi cover defence wrap up the Queensland ball carrier about 3 metres outside their own 22. Out to Shodell. Shodell to Shane Pearce. A quick play of the ball, Danny Moore. Orchard to Morganson. Back infield come the Queensland juniors. Up goes the kick over the Kiwi cover defence and deep inside the Kiwi 22, and back there in cover goes the Kiwi left wing, Solomon Curry. He passes infield to Atkinson, the Kiwi fullback, but just outside the Kiwi 22, the Queensland cover defence wrap Atkinson up. The ball comes out to Endicott. Marlowe working the left-hand touch, taking in the tackle there by Queensland of Victor Timms, and two players, Timms and Marlowe, having a little difference of opinion, but play goes on. Kiwis in possession. Paulson to Uru to O'Neill to Lalisa. Back in field comes the ball to Kiwi hooker Uru, but he loses the ball and Queensland come up with possession. About 5 metres inside the Kiwi half, Queensland in possession. They move the ball infield to Queensland second rower Shane Pearce, who's coming more into play as the game progresses. And across go the Kiwi cover defence in the form of Marcus, Lange and Eugene Bourneville. Queensland in possession, 3 metres out from the Kiwi 22. Into dummy half comes Scott Blackler, the Queensland fullback, and a little kick by Blackler catches the Kiwi cover defence napping, and he puts the ball into touch about 5 metres inside the Kiwi 22. Junior Kiwi halfback Dale Paulson to feed the scrum for the Kiwis. There's a lot of hands in that scrum and a lot of people pushing on it that shouldn't be, but the scrum whirls and Blackler's in there having a close look, and Paulson comes away with it. Out to Endicott, the Kiwi standoff. Endicott cuts through 2 would-be Queensland cane cutters defenders. Up to the Kiwi 22 line he goes. A quick play the ball now for Paulson. Paulson, a long pass, a short pass out to Lange, the Kiwi second rower. Endicott. Lange. Uru to Kearney. Kearney taken by the Queensland cover defence in the form of Greg Christensen, one of the Queensland try scorers. Out to Tom Malu, the Kiwi front rower, and just when it would appear that he was out and clear, referee Blackler rules the ball was passed forward. A play to restart about 10 metres inside the Kiwi half with Skodal, the Queensland halfback, to feed the scrum. Into the second row goes the ball, and thank you very much, says Skodal, who doesn't even pick it up, but it's picked up in the form of loose forward Danny Moore for Queensland, and then out to right winger Queensland 3 yards from the Kiwi line. Danny Moore plays the ball out to Shodel. Shodel to stand off Scott Brown. Scott does a little jink inside, but he's taken by the Kiwi cover defence in the form of Siduru, the Kiwi hooker. And then the ball was moved left by the Queensland inside backs, and there waiting for the final pass was that very quick, nippy Queensland scrum half, Trevor Skodal. And he scores about a metre to the right of the posts here, and that has shocked the Kiwis surely. Their cover defence simply wasn't there. They were completely outfooted by the Queensland attack, and that's a very good try to Trevor Skodal. So with about 33 minutes of play here at the showgrounds between this junior Kiwi test here today, it's Queensland 14 and the Kiwis 8 with the kick to come. And it's Danny Smith, the Queensland inside centre, to line this ball up for Queensland. Lines this ball up for Queensland. I note the Australian goal kickers spent a lot of time setting the ball up, lining up their kicking position, and it's over. And that increases the Queensland cane cutters junior score to 16 and the Kiwis 8. Back to the halfway, it's Kiwi inside centre Alan O'Neill to restart play. A long kick by O'Neill right down to the Queensland goal area. It's fielded there by the Queensland left wing Danny Smith. Smith a quick play the ball to Skodal. Queensland still in possession up to the 22 line. The Kiwi cover defence in the form of Malu is there. And Victor Timms sends the ball out to Skodal for Queensland, and the chip over the Kiwi cover defence once more sends the Kiwis back inside their own 22. And the touch judge on the far side of Tommy Lightfoot rules that the ball was kicked out on the 22 line, and it's a set scrum with the junior Kiwi halfback Dale Paulson to feed the scrum. He comes away with it, good put in and good pick up by Paulson, but a wild pass there by Endicott. Slows down the Kiwi attack, but up to the Kiwi 22 metre line now, and Kiwi hooker Sid Uru comes away with the ball. Into the dummy half goes Jason Edwards. Edwards to Kearney. Kearney getting the ball away to Marcus Lange. Lange bursting upfield up to the Queensland 22, and he's taken in the tackle there of the cover defence in the form of Queenslanders Scott Blackler and Renee Orchard. Kiwi still on attack with a wild pass by junior Kiwi front rower Eugene Vaughanville, which the Kiwis are unable to control, but referee Blackler indicating that the Queenslanders once again are up inside the 5 metres. So that's another penalty to Canterbury. Right on their own 22. And Alan O'Neill, the junior Kiwi, to attempt the penalty shot at goal. And as someone in the crowd has quite rightly corrected me, it's New Zealand that's playing here today, not Canterbury. We like to be a little bit patriotic here at the showgrounds, but nevertheless, it's the junior Kiwi, Alan O'Neill, to attempt this penalty.
That's just what you're losing.
And back comes O'Neill. Neil, an inside centre from the province of Waikato. Big crowd here today. In comes O'Neill. And with his left foot, making no mistake about that, it's a goal, and that's a further 2 points for the Kiwis, and that closes the scoreline up to just a difference of 6 points. Queensland 16, junior Kiwis 10. To restart play, Danny Smith, the Queensland inside centre. Deep into the Kiwi 22, and the ball picked up there very nicely by Kiwi loose board Gareth Adams. Adams a quick play the ball out to Uru. Uru on to Tom Malu, the Kiwi front rower. He's taken there by the Queensland cover defence in the form of Steele Richless. Then back the ball comes to Paulson. Paulson out to Lange. Lange wrapped up by Queenslander Victor Timms. Uru in the dummy half position. Paulson to Endicott. Endicott, a good pass out to Alan O'Neill. O'Neill bursts through the Queensland cover defence up to the Queensland 22. He runs right around the Queensland fullback and he scores. A good try by the inside centre for the junior Kiwis, Alan O'Neill. He ran a distance of about 40 metres. He cut through the Queensland fullback Scott Blackler, and that's a great Kiwi try. Well done, Alan O'Neill. And that's what happens when the ball is released quickly by the ball carrier back for the dummy half. Then those long passes to Dale Paulson, then Shane Endicott, the steady junior Kiwi standoff, and then he put Alan O'Neill right through the gap, and O'Neill wasted no time in getting those powerful legs of his into top speed. He ran right up to the Queensland fullback Scott Blackler. Blackler thought he had him covered. O'Neill says, no, you haven't, mate. He stepped right round the Queensland fullback and scored near to the right-hand corner here at the showgrounds today. That's the number 2 grandstand side. A brilliant sunny day here, and that surely now will give the Kiwis some heart. So about a minute of play remaining to the half-time break. It's the Queensland junior cane cutters 16 and the Kiwis 14 with the conversion attempt to come. But not so lucky with the conversion attempt. O'Neill. But nevertheless a good effort in scoring the try. And we have a Kiwi replacement. It looks like Kiwi standoff Shane Endicott is leaving the field, and replacement back Craig Thompson from the West Coast enters the fray. Danny Smith, the Queensland number 5, restarts play deep. Down into the Kiwi 22 goes the kick, but it's picked up once again by loose forward Gareth Adams, and he takes play up to the Kiwi 22 line. And dummy half is Sid Uru, the Kiwi hooker, out to Kiwi Eugene Bourneville. Bourneville, a quick play the ball. In possession is Marcus Lange. Lange taken by the Queensland cover defence in the form of Steele Reachless and Danny Moore. And that's half time in the first 40 minutes of play here at the Addington Showgrounds in this junior international between Queensland and the junior Kiwis. It's Queensland 16 and the Kiwis 14. And back here live at the Showgrounds in Christchurch, this junior international between the Queensland juniors and the Kiwis about to get underway. Referee Blackler just checking to ensure that everything is in order and blows time on, and the long kick taken by the Queenslander fullback Scott Blackler deep into the juniors in goal, but play very quickly brought up to just inside the Kiwi 22 line. Kiwis still in possession. Paulson to Gareth Adams. Adams a quick play the ball. Adams to Lange.
Go into another bloody roof.
Queensland now in possession. Paulson out to Blackler. Scodel to Brown. Play the ball by Victor Timms, the Queenslander front rower. Across comes the cover defence and they wrap up Shane Pearce. Then a kick over by Queensland, and onto the ball is the rangy Queenslander loose forward Danny Moore, and he has a straight sprint to the line. He outpaces the Kiwi cover defence and scores just inside the right hand touch, and that's an early second half try for the Queensland juniors. And that surely will be a setback for the Kiwis, who up until the half-time break were only 2 points behind. But those early points on the board by the Queensland juniors, that try by their loose forward Danny Moore, with the conversion to come. Queensland kicker Danny Smith once again, taking his time, but a very positive kicker. He comes in. Oh, a good kick by Queensland kicker Danny Smith from near the right hand touchline and from about 35 metres out. He converts the Danny Moore try. And that takes the scoreline to Queensland Juniors 22, Kiwis 14. From the restart, deep into Queensland territory goes the ball from the kick-off. It's picked up by Queensland fullback Scott Blackler. He takes play to just up inside the Queensland 22. From a quick play the ball, Jason Erber in there to feed, and out to the reserve forward Brett Green. From there to Blackler. Blackler a quick play the ball along the Queensland back line. The Queenslanders move the ball wide, and it's Willie Morganson in possession. He sprints up the left-hand touch. He kicks in field, and chasing hard is Trevor Skodal, the Queensland halfback. But the kick goes too far over into the in-goal area and finally rolls into the dead ball line. And from that broken passage of play, the ball will be brought out to the juniors 22 for the restart. Kiwis in possession on their own 22. Malu taken in the tackle by the Queensland cover defence. A quick play the ball by Vaughanville along the Kiwi back line. The replacement Craig Thompson. Thompson plays the ball. Up goes the Queensland cover defence in the form of Brett Green. And the ball finally clears out to the Canterbury halfback, the Kiwi halfback, and captain Dale Paulson, and he clears for touch on the grandstand side. Touch judge Lightfoot ruling that the ball was touched in flight, therefore from the set scrum the Kiwis will get the feed. Paulson feeds the scrum for the Kiwis but loses the ball, and around very quickly comes Skodal, the Queensland halfback. Queensland now in possession. Their big loose forward Danny Moore takes play up to just inside the Queensland half. Shodel, Scott Brown, and across comes the Kiwi cover defence, and they wrap up Brett Green. Out goes the ball to Queensland front row Victor Timms, and he runs into the combined tackles of Malu and Paulson. Back to Shodel, and Shodel this time caught by the Kiwi cover defence, and that's the man they have to watch, Skodal from Queensland. Back the ball comes to Brown. Brown to Shane Pearce. Still Richless with the ball. A little kick through. And back comes the Kiwi cover defence in the form of Paulson, but the ball rebounded off a Kiwi defender, rules referee Blackler, indicating the Kiwis made offside play. Shodel with the tap penalty. Out to Brown. And Brown a long ball to Runny Orchard. But Orchard unable to make play. He's caught there by the Kiwi cover defence. From the dummy half, Willie Morganson. Huber sends the ball to second rower, Still Richless. And Still Richless outpaces and outwits the Kiwi inside cover defence to score Queensland's second try within 7 minutes of the second half commencing. And the Kiwi cover defence will certainly have to close those holes there if they want to stop the Queenslanders putting men through the gaps. That was a good second row try by Queenslander Still Richless, who was backing up inside play. The junior Kiwis thought the ball was going to go out to the Queensland outside backs in the form of Orchard and Scott Blackler, who was looming up on the outside. But the big second rower from Queensland, Still Richless, he had the goal line set very firmly in his sights. He tucked the ball under his arm and scored about halfway between the goal post and the right-hand touch flag. It's an early setback for the junior Kiwis. 2 tries by Queensland in the space of about 7 or 8 minutes, and to attempt the conversion now is their kicker, Danny Smith. Back comes Smith. He kicks a high ball and right between the uprights. A further 2 points to the Queensland juniors. And now the Kiwis really have their work cut out to get back into this game, as Queensland, with inside 10 minutes of the second half commencing, have a lead of 28-14. Back to the halfway for the restart, the junior Kiwi fullback Albert Atkinson, who sends the ball right down to the Queensland inside centre Alan Morganson, who takes play up to the halfway line. Skodal to Brown. Brown a little jinx, but is wrapped up by the Kiwi cover defence. Out to Brett Green, wearing the number 14 jersey for Queensland today. Skodal again. Bursting in on the ball is the Queensland fullback Scott Blackler, but the pass is astray. They can't control the ball. The Kiwis couldn't regather the loose ball, and from that passage of broken play, a set scrum has been ordered by referee Blackler, and it's the Kiwi halfback Paulson to feed the scrum. The junior Kiwis come away with the ball, it looks like, in the form of Gareth Adams, the Kiwi loose forward, out to Paulson. Along the Kiwi back line, the ball was sent, but across come the Queensland cover defence in the form of Morganson and Scott Brown. A long ball from Craig Thompson, the West Coast representative in this junior Kiwi side, but the Queensland cover defence move up in the form of Shane Pearson reachless. Kiwis are still on the tack just inside the Queensland half now. Down goes Marcus Lange, and a quick play of the ball. And ranging up on the outside is the Kiwi front row Eugene Bourneville, but he's taken in the tackle about 7 metres from the Kiwi line. A quick play of the ball. Last tackle, rules referee Blackler. Kiwis only inches from the Queensland line now. Thompson, a little kick over the Queensland defence, but the kick is too far and it goes dead into the no play area, and they'll come back to the Queensland 22 for the restart of play. The Kiwis on that occasion look getting to within a few metres of the Queensland line. Here Bruce Gardner, but not able to penetrate the strong Queensland defence. Bruce Gardner, the grounds officer for the Quinary Rugby League, standing right beside me, and he surely had his fingers crossed in for the juniors, but to no avail. Oh, well done, Brucey. Just outside the Queensland 22, reachless out to Shodel, on to Victor Timms. Kiwi cover defence in the form of Tom Mulu is there. Jason. And into the line comes Scott Blackler, and Blackler clamps on the speed. He runs round the Kiwi fullback, Albert Atkinson, and scores right underneath the posts, and surely that's the third Queensland side in the 12th minute of the second half, and the Kiwis now will be fully committed and extended if indeed they're to get back into this game. Well, that's poor cover defence by the Kiwis then. Scott Blackler, he burst into the back line from that Queensland attack, which started right inside the Queensland halfway line. Albert Atkinson, the junior Kiwi fullback, he left his position, I think, to snuff out the Queensland attack. Perhaps he should have been standing a little bit deeper, but he wasn't. And all the Queensland fullback Scott Blackler had to do was sidestep to the right. He did so, and then he put the ball under his arm, he clamped on the speed and underneath the post to score Queensland's third try within about 13 minutes of of play into the second half. And Charlie Clarkson, the ground commentator here, has just informed me that's 18 points in 13 minutes that the Queenslanders have scored, and from the boot of Danny Smith comes a successful conversion. So after 14 minutes of play here at the Addington Showgrounds in Christchurch, 14 minutes into the second half of this junior international between Queensland and the junior Kiwis, it's Queensland 34 and the junior Kiwis 14. From the restart of play, the ball once again is taken by Willie Morganson, the Queensland inside centre, and a switch of play finds Jason Erber in possession. Erber caught on the halfway line by the Kiwi cover defence in the form of Eugene Bornable. And a long pass from Scott Brown out to Brett Green, the number 14 for Queensland here today, and he's taken by the Kiwi cover defence about 5 metres out from the junior Kiwi line. And still in possession, Queensland. It's Renee Orchard, the son of Philip Orchard, the junior Kiwi, who plays the fullback for Scott Blackler, the Queensland fullback. Queensland up to the Kiwi 22 line. Skodal in possession. Skodal out to Timms, the Queensland front rower. 10 metres out from the Kiwi line. The attack continues, but a knock on there spotted from the dummy half position by referee Blackler, and that perhaps is a let-off for the junior Kiwis. In fact, it's a turnover. And Paulson Langy plays the ball up to the 22 Kiwi line. The Kiwis in possession. They are certainly not moving very far. The Queensland defence is up there very fast. Just outside the Kiwi 22. Oh, a long ball from the dummy half position out towards Dale Paulson, the Canterbury halfback, but he loses possession, and up come Queensland with the ball again from the Queensland halfback, Trevor Skodal. The ball goes to Scott Brown. Skodal from the dummy half position. He picks up the ball and he steps right through 3 Kiwi would-be tacklers and scores right under the post for Queensland's 4th try in a matter of 16 minutes. Just looking at the Queensland try scorers in the second half, there's Scott Blackler, Stu Richarlis, the second rower for Queensland here today, and then the Queensland captain and halfback Trevor Skodal scoring that try right under the posts for Queensland, and that surely has the junior Kiwis reeling. The speed of the Queensland attack since the restart of play into the second half has caught the Kiwi cover defence by surprise. They haven't been able to close the gaps near the play the ball, and that of course has put them at a big disadvantage, because if you're going forward you need to be able to put a man through the gap, and if you haven't got the ball, surely you must plug those gaps. And to attempt to convert the Skodal try is Danny Smith, wearing the number 5 for Queensland. He comes in, he kicks, and it's right between the uprights, and that is Danny Smith's 6th successful kick out of 8 goals here today. So Danny Smith, 6 from 8 here for the Queensland juniors. And after 18 minutes of play into the second half, the Queensland juniors now a big lead over their Kiwi counterparts. So Queensland juniors 40, junior Kiwis 14. Charlie Clarkson, I was about to say to the crowd out here today that the Kiwi cover defence is slipping badly in the second half.
Well, actually, the first tackle was a few minutes 82 I mean, they're just making sure they're man. They're allowing Queensland to get the ball away on the tackles. This is where it's breaking down.
Quite right, Charlie Clarkson. What he's saying is that the Kiwis are allowing the Queenslanders to get the ball away in the tackle. They're not putting them down on the deck and forcing them to play the ball or forcing them into errors. And, of course, that is costing the Kiwis dearly. From a play the ball now, Jason Erber. Out to the speedy Renee Orchard, the Queensland centre 3/4. He's taken there by the Kiwi cover defence on about the halfway line. Now Queensland hooker, a high bomb in the air by Jason Erber, and up goes the Kiwi fullback for it. but he can't control the ball. The ball goes forward off Albert Atkinson. There to pick it up is the junior Kiwis halfback Dale Paulson, but he's in front of Atkinson, the Kiwi fullback, and referee Blackler rules that's an offside movement. What will they do here? It looks like the Queenslanders will attempt to have a shot at goal from that resulting penalty. And I really think that penalty may have been a little bit harsh. I wonder if perhaps a rebound surely is not counted as a touch, but nevertheless, to be fair to the referee's rulings, play was made from an offside position, and I guess that's what counts. It's Danny Smith, the Queensland number 5, to attempt this penalty goal for the Queensland juniors. Smith lining this ball up, a very slow but sure kicker. In he comes, wait for it, right between the uprights again. That's 7 successful attempts at goal from 7 successful kicks at goal by Danny Smith from 9 attempts. A good record here today for the Queensland juniors. 14 points in all from the boot of Danny Smith for Queensland. And back to the halfway for the restart. Deep inside the Queensland juniors 22 goes the ball. It's picked up by Scott Blackler, the Queensland fullback. He takes play up to the Queensland 22 line. He's taken there by the Kiwi cover defence. Showed all the Queensland halfback out to Steele Richless, the second rower for Queensland. Along comes the Kiwi cover defence in the form of Paulson and the second rower Marcus Lange. Queensland appear to be dominating the game at the moment. That long ball from Jason Erber out to the number 14 for Queensland, Brett Green. And a long kick by Jason Erber, the Queensland hooker, deep into Kiwi territory. And the Kiwi right wing can't control the ball. That's Jason Edwards from Wellington. The ball in fact goes out, and that was a good kick deep into the Kiwi territory by the Queensland hooker. It's a set scrum with the junior Kiwi halfback Paulson to feed. Paulson feeds the scrum. He comes away with the ball. Out to Craig Thompson from the West Coast, but a wild pass allows Queensland Willie Morganson to kick the ball through. And as he attempts to dive on the ball over the line, the Kiwi cover defence is back there, but referee Blackler rules it no try, and back to the 22-metre line they'll come for the restart of play. And that's a let off for the Kiwis. Siduru, the Kiwi hooker, restarts play, and out the ball goes to Stephen Kearney. Kearney plays the ball, but the Kiwis again fumble the ball around the ruck, and that's another bad error. And a scrum to go down on the Kiwi 22 with the Queensland junior halfback Trevor Skodel to feed his own scrum. They are not getting their combination together at all now. Skodel comes away with the ball. He's very quickly taken there by the Kiwi cover defence from Danny Moore. Out to Renee Orchard. Orchard taken in the tackle. On to Shane Pearce, the Queensland front rower. He's wrapped up by Stephen Kearney. Then a long ball from the play the ball. Out to Queensland to Willie Morganson. But Morganson loses the ball. The Kiwis come away with it. About 10 metres out from the Kiwi line. The Kiwis hard on defence, but still in possession. There's been about 25 minutes of the second half in this junior international, and probably about 90% of that time has been played in the junior Kiwis half. A defensive penalty for the Kiwis. The crowd at the showgrounds here, a large crowd today in fact, but very, very quiet and very subdued as Kiwi inside centre Alan O'Neill kicks for touch, and just inside the Queensland half the Kiwis form a wall for the restart of play. Siduru takes the ball through the wall and then offloads to second rower Marcus Lange, just inside the Queensland half. On the attack now and in possession, the Kiwi loose forward Gareth Adams gets a pass away to Lange, and from the play the ball Eugene Bourneville comes away about 10 metres inside the Queensland half. Earl to Craig Thompson, Thompson out to Atkinson, and the ball goes astray again, and from that broken passage in play the Queenslander Scott Brown comes up with the ball. From the play the ball Raymond Blackman for Queensland, and then the Queenslanders lose the ball and the Kiwis are very, very quickly onto that one, and that's a let off for the Kiwis and not so good for Queensland. Just inside the Kiwi half, but play goes on and nothing concise about that tackle. The ball being held by the Kiwi front row Tom Malu. The Queenslanders failed to release him to play the ball, so that's a penalty to the Kiwis. And now the Kiwis spin the ball wide out to Jason Edwards. Edwards is sprinting for the line, and he forces his way through two Queensland would-be defenders in the form of Scott Blackler, the Queensland fullback, and the Queensland hooker Jason Erber, the junior Kiwi winger on the right wing here for the junior Kiwis today. Jason Edwards, he forces his way across the line and scores for the junior Kiwis, and that's a good junior Kiwi try, and that surely will give the Kiwis some heart now. Well, a big clap from the crowd here now as the junior Kiwis have surely come alive, and a bad defensive error there in the form of Jason Erber, the Queensland hooker. He failed to stop the junior Kiwi winger, and that's good news for the Kiwis, even though they lag a long way behind in the scoreboard count now. Nevertheless, they'll have to run the ball at the Queenslanders as much as they can, because I can't see the junior Queenslanders letting up for one moment at all. Albert Atkinson, the junior Kiwi fullback, he comes in, he strikes the ball with the right foot, but it falls very short of the post and flows across the goal mouth. Back to the halfway for the restart of play, with the scoreboard reading, the Queensland Juniors 42, Junior Kiwis 18, with about 12 minutes of play remaining in this Junior International at the Addington Showgrounds here in Christchurch. A long kick by Scott Blackler, the Queensland fullback, who restarts play deep into the junior Kiwi 22 goes the ball, and it's picked up there by the Kiwi second rower Stephen Kearney. Kearney quick play the ball, but the Queensland cover defence in the form of Victor Timms and Jason Erber are up there very fast on the Kiwis. But still in possession, the Kiwis up to their own 22. In possession now, the try scorer Jason Edwards. Edwards a quick play the ball back for Eugene Bourneville. But once again the Queensland cover defence are up there in the form of Brett Green. And from a Craig Thompson pass, the Kiwis get the ball wide. Last tackle now as Paulson sends the ball out to the junior three-quarter line. Alan O'Neill, the junior Kiwi, a quick play the ball, and it's all tackles again on the Kiwis, rules referee Blackler. Thompson again, a long ball out to the number 2 touch. But the pass goes forward, and from a passage of loose play, referee Blackler orders a scrum. It'll be Queensland to feed the scrum in the form of their halfback Trevor Skodal. Skodal comes away with the ball, and he bursts right through the Kiwi cover defence. An in pass to standoff Scott Brown. He was picked up by Alan O'Neill, the Kiwi inside centre, and just inside the Kiwi 22 line, Queensland lose the ball, and the Kiwis take play up to their own 22, and the game really slowing down somewhat now as Stephen Kearney, the Kiwi second rower, plays the ball back for Paulson. Paulson out to Lange. Lange is taken by the Queensland cover defence in the form of a Steele Reachless and Brett Green. Paulson out to Jason Edwards, but Edwards taken by Skodal and Danny Law. Kiwi still in possession, just inside the Queensland half. Sid Uru from Wellington. Uru from Wellington bursts through the Queensland cover defence. He sold about 3 beautiful dummies, and then he throws a wild pass, and that's intercepted by Willie Morganson, the Queensland inside centre, but he's wrapped up by the cover defence in the form of junior Kiwi Stephen Kearney. But referee Blackler rules a knock-on, and they'll come back to the halfway line for a set scrum. And surely that is a let-off for the Kiwis. Oh, good play by the Kiwi hooker Sid Uru, who burst up to the Queensland 22, but then that long pass was intercepted by Queenslander Willie Morganson. And the scrum goes down. It's fed by junior Kiwi Dale Paulson. Along the Kiwi back line it comes. From the play the ball, Paulson again to Craig Thompson. Thompson flings the ball wide to left winger Solomon Curry from Auckland, and Curry is bursting up the left-hand touch, and infield goes the pass to Kiwi fullback Albert Atkinson, and surely that has to be a good try for the Kiwis. That goes to prove that they haven't finished playing the game yet, and that long pass to the Kiwi left wing Solomon Curry, who sprinted 20 metres up that left-hand touch. The Queensland fullback went across there in cover in the form of Scott Blackler, as Blackler was committed to the tackle. Solomon Curry, an in pass to Albert Atkinson, the junior Kiwi fullback. There was nobody in Atkinson's way, and he's touched down about 10 metres in from the left-hand touch in the in-goal area to score the junior Kiwis' second try in the second half. And it's Paulson to attempt this conversion. And he comes around the corner kicker, and yes, it's a goal. So second half try scorers for the junior Kiwis now. Jason Edwards, and then Albert Atkinson, and Dale Paulson, the junior Kiwi captain here today. He converted the Atkinson try. And the scoreline now reads the Queensland Juniors 42, Junior Kiwis 24. And I've got Keith Wells, the past chairman of the Canberra Rugby League Schoolboys Board, who's just indicated to me that he feels that the junior Kiwis cover defence was somewhat lacking at the restart of the second half, and that was confirmed by the grounds officer here today, Bruce Gardner. But nevertheless, it goes to show that we can still score tries when we win the ball up front and play to our speedy three-quarter line. Kiwis in possession just outside their 22. Although the game has surely slipped away from them, it goes to show the spirit with which these junior Kiwis are playing here today. They haven't gone up. They haven't given up by any means. And from that play the ball by Marcus Lange, The ball was flung wide and wild, and the Kiwis lose possession, and Skodal for Queensland sends a long ball out to Brett Green, wearing the number 14 jersey for the Queensland Juniors today, but the Kiwi cover defence is there, and they wrap Green up, but then a long pass along that left touch to the Queensland loose forward Danny Moore, and he plays the ball back to Queensland hooker Jason Erber, who passes infield to their prop Shane Pearce, and the ball goes out to Willie Morganson. Morganson steps through the gap, then back to Queensland halfback Trevor Skodal, who scores underneath the posts. Well, that's Skodal's third try today and his second half try. Bruce Gardner, we seem to be leaving gaps between our half back and our inside centre line, and that's where the Queenslanders are doing the damage. I thought perhaps at half time they might have plugged that avenue of try scoring for the Queensland Juniors. It does not appear to be so. They'll surely have a lot of work to do around that area for the second junior test. But nevertheless, full marks to the Queensland Juniors here today. They've had a big game here at the Allington Showgrounds in Christchurch, and with 5 minutes of play remaining in the second half of this junior international, it's the Queensland Juniors 46, the Kiwis 24, with the kick to come. Then it's the replacement for Queensland, Danny Law, to attempt this conversion from out in front. He's obviously not used to conditions here at the showgrounds and to the New Zealand Bulls. The ball decides to go to sleep and falls over, but let me tell you, Danny Law is not worried about that. He stands the ball up in torpedo fashion, and it just clears the crossbar, and it's right down the middle, and he converts the Skodal try. And back to the halfway line for the restart of play. Atkinson, the junior Kiwi fullback, restarts play, and at last he kicks down deep into Queensland territory. It's taken by Skodal, but he can't hold it, and along comes Queensland fullback Scott Blackler, and he knocks it on. Referee Blackler says, yes, I've seen both those offences, and we'll have a scrum, lads, and it'll be the junior Kiwi fullback Dale Paulson to feed the scrum. A little bit of problems are setting the scrums in the second half. Both hookers trying to get in, but Paulson feeds the scrum into the second row. Thank you very much, he says, and I'll have it also. Out it goes to Craig Thompson from the West Coast. And Thompson again in that double rounder movement, but he's wrapped up there by the Queensland cover defence in the form of Scott Brown. A quick play of the ball out to Alan O'Neill, the inside centre. And then Atkinson joins the attack, and he's tackled about 15 metres out from the Kiwi try line. Paulson to second rower Stephen Kearney. Kiwis on the attack now and still in possession. Kearney goes down from a tackle by Steele Richless from Queensland, and Paulson again to Craig Thompson. And a long ball out to right wing Jason Edwards, but a little bit of hesitation there by the Kiwi inside backs, and that movement, surely that slow movement gave the Queensland defence plenty of time to get there, and a try that should have been went begging to feed the scrum. Trevor Skodal, the Queensland halfback, he sends the ball out to Renee Orchard. Orchard sprints up to the Queensland 22 metre line, loses the ball, but it's regathered by standoff Scott Brown. Scott Brown, a long ball out to Raymond Blackman, and Blackman just inside the junior Kiwis half plays the ball. Out it comes to Skodal, but Skodal is wrapped up by the cover defence, and a nice little punch as well, but won't deter this young man. He gets up and plays the ball, then a little kick through by the Queensland to second row Steele Richless, and the ball is deep into the junior Kiwis 22, but Albert Atkinson, the Kiwi fullback, comes away with it and takes play back up to the 22. The Kiwis still in possession, about 5 metres from their own 22. They keep the ball alive, but finally they're wrapped up by the Queensland cover defence, and Albert Atkinson to play the ball about 30 metres out. Kiwis are still in possession, but they can't penetrate the Queensland defence. But away comes Sid Uru, the Kiwi hooker, and he's taken 10 metres inside the Queensland half. And now the junior Kiwis are sending the ball along their back line, and Craig Thompson, a little bit of hesitation there, allows the Queensland cover defence to snuff out the attack, and they tackle Alan O'Neill. O'Neill plays the ball, and the chip over the top by Paulson is muffed, and Queensland replacement Danny Law in possession about 5 metres inside his own half. From the play the ball, Scott Brown on to Jason Erber. Erber is caught by Stephen Hickling, the number 17 for the Kiwis, but Queensland still on the attack. Out the ball goes to Scott Blackwood, the Queensland fullback, and about 2 metres inside their own half, Queensland still in possession. Skodel to Scott Brown. Scott Brown, a high kick up in the air, well taken by Albert Atkinson, the junior Kiwi fullback, and he runs towards the number 2 stand here at the showgrounds, and a long ball out to Solomon Kuro. Kuro's still going, and he sprints up to the Queensland 22 and passes infield to Kiwi second row Marcus Lange, and Lange passes the ball out to Craig Thompson from the West Coast, and Craig Thompson, with no one in front of him, crosses the Queensland line to score for the junior Kiwis. And that's a little bit better. Keith Wells, that's a little bit better from the junior Kiwis. That's Craig Thompson from the West Coast scoring the junior Kiwis' third second half try. That's what Charlie Clarkson and I were saying before. Charlie Clarkson, the PA announcer here, we were saying the Kiwis must control the ball up front. They should not leave those gaps between the halfback and standoff or around the rucks that play the ball. They have to control the ball up front, then spin it wide. We have the speedy three-quarter line and the wingers to do the job, as that try-scoring movement surely showed then. And that's what I think we'll have to brush our play up on for the second test. We can do it. We have the speed, we have the pace, we have the know-how. We simply have to implement it. So right on full time now, it's the Queensland Juniors 48, the Junior Kiwis 28, with the conversion attempt to come. Wait for this one from near the sideline. A good attempt by fullback Albert Atkinson, but the kick was astray, and as the final hooter goes, here at the Addington Showgrounds in Christchurch, in this junior international between the junior Kiwis and the Queensland junior cane cutters, it's the Queensland Junior 48, the junior Kiwis 28, here at the Addington Showgrounds in Christchurch. The half-time score 16-14 in favour of Queensland, but in the second half the Queenslanders never looked back. They controlled the ball up front, they spun the ball wide, they used their second rowers in the form of Still Richless and Greg Christensen to power through the Kiwi cover defence around the rucks and play the balls, and for that answer in the second half the Kiwis really did not have none. They'll have to work on that aspect of play for their second test. Although the Queensland halfback Trevor Shodell comes to Christchurch with a big record here today. He had an outstanding game in the Queensland-Canterbury match. He was well marked today by his counterpart Dale Paulson, the junior Kiwis halfback, but nevertheless on the day, Queensland 48, junior Kiwis 28 at the Addington Showgrounds here in Christchurch. Don Wilson.